Louis was only 10 years old when he lost everything. His mother had died after a long illness, and his father had disappeared years before that. The small wooden house where he once lived with his mother was taken by the landlord because they could not pay the rent. One cold morning, Louis stood on the empty road with a small bag in his hand and tears in his eyes. He did not know where to go. He did not know what to do. He only knew that he was alone. The village people felt sorry for him, but they were poor too. No one could take care of another hungry mouth. An old woman gave him a piece of bread and told him to go to the city. Maybe you will find work there, she said softly. Louis thanked her and started walking. He walked for hours, then days. His shoes broke. His feet were bleeding. At night he slept under trees or near farms. Sometimes kind people gave him food. Sometimes he went to sleep hungry. When he finally reached the city of Paris, he felt small and scared. The tall buildings and busy streets made him feel lost. People walked past him like he did not exist. He asked for work in shops, but they laughed at him or told him to go away. He was too young. He was dirty. He had no skills. After many rejections, Louis sat near a bridge and cried. His stomach hurt from hunger, and his heart hurt from loneliness. Days passed. Louis started sleeping on the streets. He collected old pieces of wood and made a small shelter near the river. Every morning he woke up early and looked for food in trash bins. Sometimes he found old bread or fruit. He washed his face in the river and tried to look neat, but it was not easy. He missed his mother. At night he talked to the sky and asked God why his life was so hard. One evening, while walking near a rich area, Louis saw a big house. A carriage had stopped in front of it. A rich lady stepped out. Her servant dropped a heavy box by mistake. The box broke open, and clothes fell on the ground. The lady shouted angrily at the servant. Louis ran forward without thinking. He started picking up the clothes carefully and folding them neatly, just like his mother had taught him long ago. The lady noticed him. She was surprised to see a dirty little boy folding her expensive clothes with such care. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. Louis looked down and said, "Madam, my mother taught me how to fold clothes properly. I only wanted to help." The lady felt something strange in her heart. There was honesty and pain in the boy's eyes. She asked him about his life. Louis told her everything. He did not hide his tears. The lady's eyes became wet too. She told him her name was Madame Moreau. She owned a workshop where clothes were made for rich people. "Would you like to work for me?" she asked gently. Louis could not believe his ears. He nodded again and again. Madame Moreau gave him food and clean clothes. For the first time in months, Louis ate a full meal. He almost cried while eating. She let him stay in a small room near her workshop. The next morning, she took him inside the workshop. There were needles, threads, fabrics, and tools everywhere. She told him he could start by cleaning and watching the workers. Louis worked harder than anyone. He cleaned floors, carried boxes, and helped the workers. He watched everything carefully. He loved how bags and boxes were made to carry clothes during travel. He asked questions and learned fast. At night, when everyone slept, he practiced folding cloth and stitching small pieces together using broken needles. Madame Moreau noticed his interest and dedication. One day she gave him a small task. "Make a simple box to carry clothes safely," she said. Louis worked on it for hours. His fingers hurt, but he did not stop. When he showed the box to her, she smiled. It was not perfect, but it was strong and neat. "You have talent," she said. Those words stayed in Louis's heart forever. Life slowly changed for him. He was no longer homeless. He had food, work, and a small bed. But his past pain made him serious and focused. He wanted to become someone important. He wanted to make his mother proud in heaven. One rainy night, Louis sat near the window of his small room. He looked at the rain and remembered the cold nights on the street. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He promised himself, "I will never give up. I will work so hard that one day people will know my name." He did not know yet that his name would become famous all over the world. He did not know that one day, Louis Vuitton would mean luxury and success. At that moment, he was just a poor boy with a big dream and a painful past. But inside his broken heart, a strong fire had started to burn. A fire that no hunger, no cold, and no sadness could ever stop. Years passed, and Louis was no longer the thin, homeless boy who slept under bridges. He was now a young man with strong hands, sharp eyes, and a quiet confidence. He still worked in Madame Moreau's workshop, but he was no longer just a helper. He had become her best worker. He could cut fabric perfectly, stitch neatly, and design strong boxes and travel bags. Rich customers often asked, "Who made this beautiful box?" Madame Moreau would smile and say, "My young assistant, Louis." Louis never forgot his past. Every time he touched fine cloth or soft leather, he remembered the cold nights and empty stomach. Those memories pushed him to work even harder. He came early and left late. He saved every small coin he earned. He did not waste money on fancy clothes or food. His only dream was to open his own small workshop one day. One evening, Madame Moreau called him into her office. She looked at him with proud eyes. "Louis," she said softly, "you have grown into a talented craftsman. You don't need me anymore. You should follow your own path." Louis felt a mix of happiness and fear. He thanked her with tears in his eyes. She gave him a small bag of tools and some money to start his new life. Louis rented a tiny room near a busy street in Paris. It was old and dark, but it was his own place. He put a small table inside and started making wooden boxes and travel trunks. At first, no one came. Days passed. He ate dry bread and soup to save money. Sometimes he felt afraid that he would fail and return to the streets. One day, a rich traveler entered his small shop by accident. He was angry because his old trunk had broken during his journey. Louis listened carefully and repaired it with great care. When the man returned to collect it, he was shocked. The trunk looked stronger and more beautiful than before. He paid Louis and told his rich friends about him. Slowly, more customers came. They liked Louis because he listened to their needs. He made boxes that were light, strong, and easy to carry. He added small locks for safety. He used better wood and soft leather. His work became famous among travelers. But life was not easy. Big workshops became jealous. They tried to copy his designs and lower their prices. Sometimes Louis had no orders for weeks. One winter, he became sick because he could not afford enough food and firewood. He lay in his cold room, shaking, and thought, "Maybe this dream is too big for me." In his weakness, he remembered his mother's words, "Never give up, my son. Life tests the strongest hearts." He cried quietly and forced himself to stand up again. He went back to work, even when his hands were weak. One special day changed everything. A royal woman from France needed a special travel trunk. Her servants came to Louis's shop. They wanted something elegant, light, and safe for long journeys. Louis worked day and night. He polished the wood until it shined. He added soft silk inside. He made a secret lock that only the owner could open. When the trunk was delivered, the royal woman loved it. She told everyone about the young craftsman named Louis. Soon, rich people from different cities started ordering from him. His tiny shop became too small. He hired 2 helpers, then 5, then 10. Louis changed the name of his shop to Louis Vuitton. He wanted people to remember his name. His trunks and bags became symbols of quality and trust. Travelers said, "If you want a safe journey, carry a Louis Vuitton trunk." Even after success, Louis stayed humble. He visited Madame Moreau and thanked her again and again. He helped poor children by giving them work and food. When he saw homeless boys on the street, his heart ached. He knew their pain. One night, he stood outside his big new workshop. Lights were shining inside. Workers were laughing. Customers were waiting. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "Mother, I did it." Tears of joy fell from his eyes. The boy who once slept on the streets had become a name known across the world. His pain had turned into power. His tears had turned into success. And his story became proof that even the poorest child can rise and shine, if he never gives up. Heartbreak, right arrow crown.